Yo, what's going on, guys? Today, we're going to be ranking every single win condition in Clash Royale. We do have the win condition itself and also the evolution separately here, so we will have a few more rankings to do. I'll be ranking each win condition based on how good they are right now, but also how consistent they've been over the last few months or so. To start it off, we have the Pencil, also known as the Battle Ram. I'll put it in the B tier. Pekka Bridge Spam is pretty strong right now, and the deck does use Battle Rams, so I feel like it's definitely a pretty decent win condition. Not the best ever, doesn't really carry the deck or anything, but yeah, definitely respectable. Next up we have the Evo Battle Ram, which is definitely quite a bit better than the normal one. You might think like, oh, of course evolutions are better than the normal card, but a lot of the time they actually aren't because you might prefer to use a different evolution, so yeah. So for Evo Battle Ram, I'm going to actually put it in the A tier. I feel like it's so popular right now. I saw Ram Rider being used in a lot of Pekka decks, but I feel like since then, people actually switched mainly to using Evo Battle Ram now because it's basically a Ram Rider that has even quite a bit more damage output and is just way more broken, just has some crazy abilities that can really win you the game, even if you're looking like you're in a really bad spot at a certain point. Next up, we have the Mortar. If this was a few weeks ago, I probably would have put it in the C tier, but I feel like Mortar has made quite a nice comeback recently. It's definitely very solid, so ooh, I don't know where I would put it though. I feel like I might even put it above the Pencil in the B tier. It's pretty solid. Mortar Bait has been very good with the Miner and Skeleton King, that kind of stuff. Pretty solid deck in the meta. Evo Mortar. I mean, Evo Mortar definitely is pretty good on Mortar. When you play Mortar, you do typically want to have the evolution on it. I feel like the Evo Mortar is like 10 times more scary, so I'll actually throw that right in the A tier as well. Definitely very solid. Next up we have the Xbow, the first kind of weaker card. Or the first weaker win condition, I should say. Xbow, I would put it in the C tier. It was B tier maybe a few months back, but it had a bit of a fall off. I guess because Goblin Drill does typically counter it, doesn't really seem too good in this meta. Icebow's decent though, but nothing amazing. Next up we have the Balloon. Balloon was also very strong with Lava Hound, but I feel like Lava Hound is not quite as good as it used to be, and Lava Hound is really the only deck Balloon is used in. Balloon Miner really is not popular at all, at least not competitively. So for Balloon, I guess we could put it kind of towards the end of the B tier. It really does kind of suck right now, especially because Cannoneer is super strong in the meta, and Balloon does get wrecked by it quite a bit. Now Golem, man, Golem might be the worst card we have here yet, the worst win condition. I don't know, it sucks against Cannoneer once again. You guys will hear Cannoneer a lot throughout this video because it really is going to change where a lot of these win conditions will be ranked, since pretty much everyone seems to be switching to Cannoneer at the pro level anyways. Probably a lot of casual players have switched as well though. But yeah, even before Cannoneer, Golem sucked. It just can't compete with these quick cycle drill decks, and yeah, those cycle decks can punish it so easily, but then also end up defending really quickly with some cheap cards too, so Golem has to go probably towards the end of the C tier. I really wish it was a little bit better, but Pump sucks too now, because Void is everywhere, and the Pump rework also harmed it a little bit. Oh man, moving on to the Trash Can on Wheels, absolute trash card. We can put this win condition in the D tier, straight at the bottom of the D tier for now. I mean, Void is 3 Elixir and can fully counter it, so yeah, have fun with that. If you want to get your 6 Elixir Sparky countered by a 3 Elixir card, then please do play it and give other players free wins if you do so wish to do that. I'm just joking. Alright, E-Giant, man, E-Giant's hot garbage right now. It's so bad against Cannoneer. But even before that, once again, it was very trash as well. So yeah, I don't know. Just the Goblin Drill decks seem to counter it. It should counter Goblin Drill with the Bowler in it, but I feel like the drill decks are so broken right now that they actually do still beat E-Giant. So E-Giant really doesn't beat too many things right now. I mean, it definitely can beat some things, but it's really just not very solid. So I feel like somewhere in the C tier should be fine for the card. Now E-Golem is kind of an interesting one. I feel like it's really not half bad right now. I did see quite a few top players using it. It definitely does counter Cannoneer, and even before Cannoneer, it was also pretty good. This is one of the cards that hasn't really changed too much recently. So I'll put it right above the Battle Ram in the B tier. It's very solid right now. I don't know if B tier is a little bit too high for it or not, but I don't know. It seems to be a pretty good win condition, and the more people start to use Cannoneer, it's only going to make E-Golem more broken because it has stuff like Night Witch in it, which can pretty much just become the best counter in the game to Cannoneer decks. So yeah, I think it's very good. Also, Evo Wizard is so good, Void is so good, all in E-Golem. So yeah, very good card. Now Giant. I would have ranked Giant maybe even low B tier, but guys, the meta is changing so quickly right now. So I'm actually going to have to put this card all the way up in the A tier. And the reason why is because I see Giant double prints absolutely everywhere with Void right now. I guess because of the Prince buff. I don't know, maybe because of certain things being meta. I'm not really sure exactly why, but Giant is absolutely everywhere. I thought it died after the range nerf, but apparently it's back and just about better than ever as of right now. Next up, we have the Goblin Barrel. Goblin Barrel definitely is quite solid right now. It's able to beat quite a few things. It can even beat some of the meta decks like Goblin Drill if you do have the right version of it, so I'd have to put it, I guess, kind of in the lower B tier end. Evo Goblin Barrel definitely does help the deck quite a bit too. I feel like Evo Goblin Barrel could actually go right above the Mortar because, I mean, here's the thing. I feel like Evo Barrel really doesn't help certain bait decks, like the Mighty Monitor bait deck. It doesn't do too much for it. It can definitely help though. But when you have a deck like Prince Logbait, that double lane pressure can be so amazing. And the best part about it is that they can't tell which barrel is the fake one, which makes Evo Goblin Barrel so strong right now and so underrated, I feel like, by so many players. Now, Goblin Drill, I mean, people might expect me to put it in the S tier, but it's really not that amazing without the evolution. I'm not sure where I'd actually want to rank it, though. I mean, I feel like without the Evo right now, I feel like it would still be a very solid card. I feel like it was B tier for a long time, but since Cannoneer is meta, Drill does do very well against that, so I think without the Evo, I'd actually still put it in the A tier, maybe. Could debatably be in the B tier, but yeah, I think that's fine for it. But the Evo Goblin Drill, this can go in the S tier, our first S tier win condition. It's just insane. Absolutely needs a nerf. It will be getting a nerf, but honestly, I don't even know if it's going to be enough. The whole concept of Evo Drill is just mind-boggling to me, how they thought this would be a good idea. I really don't think it's a great idea, what they did with Evo Drill. Really, the only card that can counter it easily is Bowler. Besides that, you're going to be in quite a bit of trouble. So good luck to you if you face it this season. Alright, now we have the Goblin Giant. Goblin Giant has been sneakily good recently too, so for Goblin Giant, I'll actually put it even above the Barrel in the B tier. It's used so much, as well as Giant, they're kind of competing a little bit with each other, but I feel like they kind of just both managed to have their own niche in the meta right now. Now, Evo Goblin Giant, it definitely is a little bit better. I don't feel like it's too insane, but I think A tier could be fine for it, very bottom of the A tier. This ranking could be a little bit debatable on the Goblin Giant. I mean, the meta is changing so rapidly right now that we're not 100% sure of where certain things will be ranked, but I'm just trying to give a rough guess for certain things that could change very quickly. But most of these rankings should be just about perfectly accurate. Okay, now Graveyard. Guys, this will be my biggest guess right now of them all, because Graveyard, I was going to rank it like in the C tier, maybe very low B tier. But guys, Cannoneer is back and better than ever. And you know what happens when Cannoneer is meta? Graveyard rises to the very top, Giant Graveyard in specific. I put Giant this high because there's so much Giant Graveyard that's starting to pop up. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Graveyard even moved its way all the way up to the S tier if Cannoneer stays this broken. So, I mean, yeah, it really seems to be like these Giant decks and Goblin Drill competing to be the very top deck in the meta. We're going to have to see. This might be a wild guess. This might not be true. Might end up not being true, but guys, I mean, I wouldn't say it's true right now, but I feel like in a few days, Graveyard will be everywhere. So, I feel like this could be a good guess as to what Graveyard's strength is. Man, Hog Rider. Man, Hog was looking so good for some time. But then Evo Goblin Drill came out, and I feel like Evo Goblin Drill is just way too difficult for Hog Rider. So, I don't know where I would put it. I might still put it kind of up here in the B tier. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of trash, but I do see some Hog Executioner players playing it and having some good success with it. Maybe I just think it's trash because Hog EQ kind of sucks right now against Goblin Drill and stuff, but perhaps with the Executioner Valkyrie variant, you can actually beat Drill sometimes. So, you know, it's not terrible, but definitely not really very good. Now, Lava Hound. Lava Hound is kind of a tough one. I guess I would put it next to the Hog Rider in the B tier. It was very solid for some time, but Cannoneer is starting to box it out a little bit. Probably these Pekka decks also can sometimes counter it. You know, even maybe Mortar Bait could do pretty well against it. Not really sure, but either way, I feel like mainly the Cannoneer is going to counter Lava Hound decks quite a bit, among quite a few other things. The meta does not suit it too well. I feel like Drill is its main easy matchup, but there are quite a few other things that Lava Hound players will have to deal with as well. So Miner, ooh, I'm not really sure where I would put Miner. I feel like, maybe above Lava Hound in the B tier. See, I feel like Miner should be A tier, but Goblin Drill is 10 times better. Why would you play a Miner deck when you can play Goblin Drill? So that's the reason why I'm not going to put it higher. It's probably the lowest I've ranked Miner, at least in a very long time. Yeah, kind of weird to see, but I feel like it's probably accurate. Next up, we have the Ram Rider. I mean, Ram Rider, I don't know. It's very good in Pekka bridge spam, but I have started to see more people use the Evolved Battle Ram. I actually checked Royal API, the top 200 leaderboard, right before this recording, and I saw a lot of people were using Battle Ram instead. So I feel like with this card, I don't know, we could put it kind of next to the Miner here in the B tier. Maybe not 100% accurate, you could probably shift it a few spots in either direction. But I feel like roughly in the B tier is probably a fine spot. Now RG, man, RG is so good right now. I don't know if I'd put it above or below the Giant, though. I mean, yeah, I really don't know. I guess above it, because, man, RG is so good right now. RG Void, RG Fireball, RG Wizard, RG Phoenix. Really feels like a great RG meta right now. And Evo RG, I mean, it does help the card, but not really too much. You don't have to put the Evo on the RG necessarily. You can also run Evo Skeletons or something instead. It definitely does help a little bit, but I don't really think it's enough to put it above the Graveyard. So even though there is a bit of a difference here, we can't really show it easily. Next up, we have the Piggies. They kind of run into the same issue as the Hog Rider. They just get countered by Goblin Drill and quite a few of the other Psycho decks that are meta. Even stuff like Giant Graveyard could give it maybe a little bit of a tough time. So for Piggies, I guess I'd put them here in the B tier. Might even be a little bit lower, honestly, but I feel like they're not unviable, so they should be fine right there. Now, Skeleton Barrel, man, this is more like Trash Barrel. Taking out the trash together with the Sparky, man, these two cards suck. It should be really good since Cannoneer is meta, but I feel like even with that, it still sucks. So yeah, it can get out of here and get lost. Alright, Three Musketeers, man. The only card in the game, the only win condition in the game that can actually outdo the Sparky or the Skeleton Barrel as being the very worst win condition in the entire game right now, by far, honestly. And next up we have the Wall Breakers. They were looking great until Cannoneer became meta because they were pretty decent against Princess Tower, but now that people are using Cannoneer, they never connect anymore unless you tank for them. So for Wall Breakers, I guess I'd put them in the C tier. A couple people do still use them. Evo Wall Breakers, I mean, I feel like people use Wall Breakers without the Evo most of the time anyways, so I feel like I just have to put them right here, right next to the normal ones. And yeah, that will be our tier list, so yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this tier list in the comments, what stuff you would change, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Alright guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!